Gotta have a drink, Mikey.
Born here, raised here, I'm Canadian, proud of it. But the one part about our society that has bugged me for a very long time is this. We are soft on crime.
No,
like,
Sid.
Seriously soft on crime.
Don't say it. I always love it when somebody opens up a conversation saying that we're soft on crime. Sometimes they forget where we came from. They forget Braveheart. They forget Mr. Wallace. They forget Tyburn. That's the history of our legal system here in Canada. It came from the Commonwealth. We, as a people in the Commonwealth, invented dismemberment, immolation, the evisceration of human beings, pulling them to pieces with horses, cutting out their genitalia while they were alive, lighting their bowels on fire while they were alive, and then beheading them while their heart was still beating. We invented that stuff. We've tried to move away from it. But anytime I hear about a conversation that we need to get tough on crime, I always remind people they really need to go back to Braveheart. Yet, Sid has gotten himself into the deep end of the pool. Let's see what he has to say today.
After a mass murder, should someone in this country be eligible for parole after 25 years? Doesn't make any sense. I know it doesn't for a lot of you watching out there. But a few people in this country in May of 2022 disagreed. Problem was they were sitting on the Supreme Court when they did it.
How
All
inconvenient.
9 members voted to make consecutive sentences illegal following an appeal from Alexandre Bissonnette, who was found guilty of 6 counts of first-degree murder in the Quebec mosque shooting, of 2017.
Here's the thing, Sid. If you're going to wade into the deep end of the pool, you've got to read the entire decision by the Supreme Court of Canada. They didn't just say that it was unconstitutional. They explained why it was unconstitutional, actually anti-Canadian, because Canada is a country of peacekeeping and peacemaking and corrections for which we spend billions of dollars every year. This rationale about whether or not people should be executed, and that's what we're talking about, Sid. Don't muddle the waters here whatsoever. When Mr. Poilievre, and you cut to his tape, and he says to the police officers union that he's going to send multiple murderers home in nothing less than a box, what he's saying is that he's going to use the penitentiary as an implement of execution. It's going to be a slow, painful, finger-scratching drag for decades and decades until the person who has committed these crimes is dead. So this is a reopening of the death penalty discussion. And it shouldn't be done on breakfast television, nor should it be done in the quiet of a union meeting in front of police chiefs. But I think it is an important conversation to have.
The Afsal family, run down and killed by a murderous 20-year-old punk in London, Ontario in June of 2021. It was judged to be a terrorist act, but instead of 100 years before being parole eligible, he's up in 25. Incredible. Listen, I normally don't enjoy listening to any kind of argument regarding overriding the Supreme Court's with a notwithstanding clause. It's kind of dangerous most of the time. However, when it comes to giving the families of victims some peace and keeping the worst criminals in Canadian history behind bars for the rest of their life, it's an argument I'm willing to listen to.
Sid, I'm biting my tongue, bud. I'm absolutely biting my tongue because I can't believe that you just rolled out 4 victims of crime that cannot speak for themselves. I've been a practicer of restorative justice for over 25 years now, and that is just not cool. To put victims out in front of what your CV calls edutainment. There's a place for edutainment, absolutely, but not in this end of the pool. This is the deep end of the pool, Sid. And trust me, from what I've seen here today, you're over your head. You've opened the door to a discussion about the death penalty, because using the penitentiary to send people home in a box is no different than using a hangman's rope. It's no different than using any of the implements that were used on Mr. Wallace 350 years ago at Tyburn. This is an opening to a discussion about the death penalty. And perhaps that's a discussion that Canada wants to have. The latest numbers are on it that Canada is divided. We're 50-50. But make no mistake, Sid, that means it's going to tear this country apart to have that discussion. Let's not do it on breakfast television. You want to open the conversation? I'm an easy person to find. I'd love to talk to you more about it. But let's not roll victims and their photos out in front of everybody and then pretend to speak for victims when they can't speak for themselves. Whether people want to see people executed by means of the penitentiary system, that's a conversation that has to be had in a sober moment, not over breakfast television. I'm Iridian. You know where to find me.